Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to look at the French president's speech in one of the conferences that he attends, and we're going to try and answer the question, what does he do to sound like that? So first of all, let's hear him out and then we will proceed. And if you stick around until the end of the video, there will be a quiz, and if you get all the answers correct, that means that you have graduated from the Macron School and now you can sound like him exactly. I mean, not 100%.
We do believe that we need more growth, we need more stability in this world. But we do prefer respect to bullies, we do prefer science to plotism, and we do prefer rule of law to brutality. You're welcome in Europe, and you are more than welcome to France.
Okay, so we heard it. Why does he sound like that? That's the question that we're going to try and answer today. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. Let's hear the first segment that we're going to analyze. That. I know it's kind of stereotypical with the French learning English, but that. Why is he saying it that? So here we have a phonetic transcription of the phrase, we do believe that. So what we're going to focus on is this part right over here, that, which in his speech is that. So we have a that changes to that, and if had he said this, he would say this. So we can predict what he's going to say actually. Now the sound that he's trying to produce here is the sound the, and this is the phonetic symbol for that sound. Instead, what he gives us is a z sound. All right. So why is this happening? If you look at what I have here, every sound will have a place, a manner, and a voicing. We'll have these three parameters. If you change them, then if you change any of the parameters, you're going to end up with another sound that exists in the inventory of whatever language you're speaking. Never mind this for now. We're going to look at it. I hope it's not intimidating, but it's easy once you get the hang of it. And we're not going to look at all of it, of course. We're only going to look at the parts that concern the process that is happening in this case. And that process is actually called a substitution or a TH-substitution. Okay, so let's look at that. The is a dental sound. That is to say, if you look at the chart here, number 2 is dental, so we're using our teeth and we're using our tongue, so it's an interdental sound. That's why it's called a dental sound. That's the place. The manner of production is fricative, and fricative means you obstruct the flow of the air but not fully. You just put an obstacle there and you let the stream of air continue escaping your mouth. The lingo sounds a little bit weird, I know. So that's why you hear that when I'm doing or s. All of these are fricative sounds, and what's common between them is that I don't stop the air, I just change the opening through which it comes, and that creates a specific sound. So the manner is fricative. The last one is voiced, or the voicing. In this case, for the sound that we are trying to produce, which is the sound is voiced. So what that means is that the vocal cords are vibrating. So if you take 2 fingers, or 3, or 1, or 5, you put them on your throat, and if you try, and produce, let's say the sound s. Let's try to produce s. So if you put them here and you say s, you will notice that there is no vibration. They don't vibrate at all. So that's voiceless or unvoiced. A voice sound would be just the opposite. A voice sound would be actually what we're trying to produce now, the sound. So if I put my fingers here and I say there's quite a lot of vibration. All right. The sound z also is voiced. So let's try and do it. Z, there's vibration. Now let's alternate between z and s and see how the vibration is on off. Z, s, z, s, z, s. I think you got it right. So if you combine these 3, what you'll end up with is the. We do believe that. Now Macron, what does he do in this case? If you look at the sound that he produces instead of the targeted sound, it's a z sound, and the changed parameter here is the place. So he uses the alveolar ridge to obstruct the air flow instead of his front teeth, instead of the teeth. So the alveolar ridge is number 3, and it's that little bump just behind the teeth. If you feel with your tongue, I know you have to bear with me. If you feel with your tongue, you see that there's a kind of a rough bump. That's what he uses to stop the air And that's what we actually all use, because this sound z exists in English as well. That's what we use in English to produce z. So the tongue gets close to the alveolar ridge, and then the air vibrates the vocal cord and keeps coming out. And because it's fricative, we partially block it, and we end up with z. So he substitutes the to z by moving the obstruction of the airflow from the teeth to the alveolar ridge. All right, I hope now it's clear. Now, the French language does not have the interdental fricatives th or the one we use with the teeth in the inventory of sound. So what do? We substitute it, or we try to find the closest thing to it. In this case, the sound z, and all native speakers will default back and fall on the z. And so this is why it's called substitution, because we're substituting the targeted sound by the closest sound that we have in the language that we speak. The L1 transfers that towards the L2. If this is his L2, I don't know if he can speak other languages. The second part we're going to look at, or the second sound, is speak. Okay, I need to change the cursor. Where are you?
We need more growth. We need
Gross.
more growth.
Gross. It's not even grow. It's not even. What I hear is more gross. So
We need more growth.
this one is interesting because we can analyze or study two things, not just one thing. So the target that we're going to focus on is gross, this part here. We need more gross. And growth, the word growth, uses a th sound, and th is similar in all aspects to the, except for the voicing. The and th are the same except for the voicing, where the is voiced like we saw in the previous example. Th is not voiced, is voiceless. So the same process happens. The substitution happens again. All right, what I want to focus on this time is probably the vowel. We can look at the vowel itself, and for vowels we have a different chart or diagram here. If I ever do phonology and phonetics video, I will get to explain what these are, but for this video I don't think I want to go too much into the details. What you should know is there's a change that happens to this particular vowel, or the phonetic transcription of this vowel. Here we have O, like growth, O, and it changes to a little bit of an O, gross. We need more gross. So what happens here is the sound moved from a diphthong to a monophthong. And what does that mean? If you notice here, we have two vowels. That is to say, it's a diphthong. There's even vowels that have three, actually, and they're called a triphthong, if I'm not mistaken. But in this case, we start from the O, and we start here and we end here. Growth, growth. But in Macron's case, he doesn't produce a diphthong, he produces a monophthong. He substitutes this to this. Also gross. We need more gross. And that's something that happens whenever you try and learn a second language, or whenever you're trying to speak a language that is not the native of yours. Okay, now this is also a good example to see how phonological processes happening from this L1 to L2, the native language to the additional language you're learning, can affect the lexical identity of the word. Because here we have growth, and it sounds almost like gross. So and these two are lexically, I don't even know if lexically is a word, distinct from each other. So they are distinct, so you kind of make it very ambiguous which one you're trying. But based on the context, we know that he's trying to say growth, obviously. But anyways, let's carry on. The next sound we're going to look at is something interesting. It's not a sound as much as it is a stress thing. Do you like stress?
More stability in it.
Are we going to look at stability, the one that sounds like a machine gun? Stability. That's a peculiar thing, and if you want to sound like him, you need to know why it's happening. And that's what I'm going to try and explain next.
More stability in it.
So stability is what we're going to focus on. So the way he's saying it is stability. So all the syllables in stability are equal, the way he says it. Stability. He's giving all the syllables an equal prominence, an equal level of stress, which is not even that high. They're all about a little bit low, and it keeps going the same. It keeps going at the same rate or level of stress, stability. In English, on the other hand, the example here, the one that I have here in capital letters, this syllable is the strongest one, and it's going to stand out next to the ones surrounding it. Let's have a look. So in English you'd say stability, weak, strong, weak, weak. Stability, weak. Bill, strong, ity, weak, weak. Stability. All right, so that's what Macron is missing here. I have this picture here that I found online, and it kind of explains what the difference is between syllabic timed languages like French and stress timed languages. In syllabic timed languages, you keep going like a machine gun, as I said. Do, 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 do. That's it. In stress timed languages, you reduce some syllables and put stress on other syllables following a certain set of rules that could be acquired if it's your native language, and also could be acquired if you're learning at this depth, not just like what the textbooks teach you. Like they try to go into this sometimes, but not nearly. It's not nearly enough. So all in all, as we said, English is a stress versus French, which is a rhythm language. So French turns towards the syllable timing, while English is stress timed, as I said. So what we have here is a reduction that happens in English, but Macron is doing what's called reduction resistance. He is resisting the reduction, and he perceives the full vowels as they are, and he does not weaken them. And as a result, you end up with stability instead of stability. Okay, I hope that was clear. Let's move on to the next segments that we're going to look at. And
more stability in this world.
So we're going to look at in this world.
More stability in this world.
In this world. This is what we're going to look at now. And let us get started.
More stability in this world.
So yin is our focus, as I said. What we have here is an insertion. So from nothing, we insert a y sound in this context. Dash here would be where the sound will be inserted, and what's on left is what's before, what's on the right is what's after. If it's a capital V, it just means there's a vowel before it. So what this rule says here is that you insert, like from nothing, it becomes a y when or in the context of a preceding vowel and an e that follows. And if you remember, just before this, the word was stability, as you said, stability, as you said. And stability ends with an E. Stability ends with an E over here. And in starts with an E. Basically, when you have two vowels, you need to put something in the middle so that you make it easier to pronounce. And you make the E in sound as if you're saying in. Otherwise, if you don't do it, it's just going to end up elongating the E that ends in the previous word. And it's going to sound a little bit weird. Stability. It's going to sound like this. Stability in this world. Stability. As opposed to stability yin. It's the best we can do when two vowels are next to each other, and especially if you want to make the difference. I think it's okay actually if you say stability, but when you speak an additional language, you're hyper corrective, you're trying to say everything the right way. Most of the time you end up making it worse. Not most of the time. Sometimes you do end up making it worse by trying to be hyper corrective. Anyways, let me explain a little bit more about this one, and then we move on to the next one. So here we have a co-articulation from the previous vowel, stability, in. And the next thing I want to look at is the world. So the world, the way he says is world. Again, the vowel sounds exactly similar to the one we saw with growth. And this sounds to me, I didn't analyze the speech to the spectrogram level to know everything, but it sounds similar. So this long vowel has changed in this case, and because French lacks an R-colored central vowel, the whirl, speakers usually approximate it using a back vowel, and that's the O vowel. World. And the D, for some reason, I heard it, he pronounces the T, world. In German or Dutch, this is normal. The final D, which is voiced, will become voiceless. They'll say world, weekend. If you ever speak to a Dutch person, you'll hear weekend. Let's go. What are we going to do in the weekend? I don't know why he's doing this, but he changed the D to a T, and I don't know why. It just sounds like that. Let's hear it again.
More stability in this world.
Yeah, he's saying this world. My guess is that it's, again, articulatory pressure. He wants to pronounce things and it's not a bad thing. We all do that. Probably I am doing it right now because I'm speaking a language that is not my own. But we're not conscious of these processes. But he ended up saying Welt, which is very German or Dutch sounding, not necessarily French. Anyways, let's continue. This one is a classic. There's not much to say about it. Let's hear it.
But we do prefer respect to bullies. We do prefer science to plotism.
Okay, so but We do prefer respect to bullies. We do prefer science to plautism. What I want to look at in this case is the word. Okay, enough.
To bullies.
Sorry, Mr. President, shouldn't have yelled at you. Okay, good. Préfère. Préfère is literally the way it should be said in French. He's not doing any efforts to make it sound English whatsoever, right? So why is this happening? I guess it's the path of least resistance. Why would you bother if it's already in your language and you can just say it the same way and people will get it? Plus, it's a bit difficult for French people to say it the way it should be said in English, mainly because of the differences of R, and they are completely different. The R, the French R and the English R. The English R is an alveolar approximant. The tongue is curled and benched, and there's minimal friction. And if you want to see where the alveolar is, you can go back to the part where I have the charts. But it's back in the mouth, but not the furthest back. Not the furthest, or even further is the French R. The French R is a uvular. I can actually show you why would. Okay, so as I said, the English R is an alveolar. R. It's the same z, same position as a z or s. The tongue position is different, and the sound that comes out is obviously different. So alveolar is the number 3. So you have about here the R, R-U. Okay, ra, ro, ri. Right. The French R is a uvular sound. And remember when Tom and Jerry opened their mouth? Not both, either one of them. I don't know if there's a scene where both have their mouth open, but Tom is the one who gets crude most of the time. So you see his mouth open and you see that little thing that looks like a punching bag that boxers use, or not the speed bag that they have. That's the uvular. Okay, that's the uvula, and the uvular sound is produced by making use of that place. So the French sound will be r. It's coming from the uvular, while the English R will be r. It's way further in the front. So after explaining the differences in the position, the tongue is also positioned in a different way, doing different things. The tongue in the R sound is curled and benched. In the R or R sound, the tongue is near the uvula. And the airflow is also different. In the R sound is minimal friction, while in the French R, it's turbulent airflow. And this is a classic L1 transfer. He's just transferring the sound from French to English without changing place, manner whatsoever. And what you end up with is préfère. We do préfère. There are other things in this part, but I don't want to go too much into details. This video is already long, and I just want to focus on a few things that may be important. Now, the next thing we're going to hear is this.
You're welcome in Europe, and you are more than welcome to France.
You're welcome in Europe, and you're more than welcome to France. The way I said it, you are welcome in Europe, and you are he corrected himself around this, and you're more than welcome to France, or France, as he likes to say, France. Now, what should we analyze here?
In Europe, and
you are is something that I want to look at. He said it twice, so if you want to say you are. If you do the contraction, that's your, but I think he wants to say you are. There's a weak R transition. You just hear you are. There's almost no R involvement, and this makes the vowel looks a little bit over elongated. You are. And most of the time, if people don't want to, because the R is a bit tough to pronounce, people end up dropping it, especially that there are some accents, like the English accents, and variety of the English accents, where the R usually is not pronounced with the same clarity that it is pronounced in American English or other varieties of English, so to say. So the end result will be an elongated vowel. You are more than welcome to France. Okay, we're gonna hear it again, and I am gonna try and sound like him. I'm not gonna do it well, I can tell you that, but you can also try. If you can read what the phonetic transcription that I have here, why not? But let's hear him first, and let me try and say it, and after that we're gonna move on to the quiz, if you're still around.
We do believe that we need more growth, we need more stability in this world, but we do prefer respect to bullies, we do prefer science to plautism, and we do prefer rule of law to brutality. You're welcome in Europe, and you are more than welcome to France.
Okay. Pressure. Okay, let me try. I don't know why I can't stop laughing. All right, locking. We do believe that we need more growth, we need more stability in this world, but we do prefer respect to bullies. We do prefer science to plutism. And we do prefer rule of law to brutality. You're welcome in Europe, and you're more than welcome to France. Okay, stage fright. I'm so happy I've done it. I'm not gonna ever do it again. And let me move on to the quiz. Stop the video. You can try to do it yourself if you want to, if you can read the scribbles that I have over there. And again, if I ever go into phonology, I might make some lessons about phonetic transcriptions and international phonetic alphabets. But let's see. It's just a question of time. If I had more than 24 hours in a day, I would have surely done it. Quiz time. Now, I don't want to spend time editing and stopping the video to give you time. Instead, I'm just going to count. You're going to have 5 seconds. Or maybe, 5 seconds. 3 seconds or 5. 4. You're going to have 4 seconds to answer each of the questions. All right, let's go. Question number 1. Which sound is replacing the English, which sound is replacing the English TH in that and this? T, Z, or sh? And the answer is B, Z, as we've seen in the first sound that we've analyzed. Question number 2. Why does stability sound unnatural in English? The vowel is wrong. The word stress is misplaced. The consonants are missing. And the answer is B. Sorry, microphone. 3. What phonological process explains the substitution from the to z? Segment substitution or substitution. If you've answered all of them correctly, that means you learned something today. Share, like, subscribe, and tell me what you think about this kind of video. Share your thoughts with me in the comments. It helps the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.